Okay, I welcome you once again to Icesoft Original, and this is the basic lessons for each and individual programmer who is starting afresh to handle VB.net or to handle programming. Now, this is how the interface looks like when you first create a new project. That is how the interface looks like. Now we have the toolbar here, which is the file, edit, view, project, build, debug, format, test, analyze, tools, extensions, windows, help, and a lot. Now each and individual tab, or let's say each and individual section, has a specific work or job to do. To understand furthermore, there are a lot of codes here or a lot of functions here which will help you to get going easily and fast. That is how it works. Here is the toolboxes. Here is the toolbox which contain toolboxes or tools. So you can see a lot of tools here. It's because I have added a third-party plugin to my software. That is the reason why you are seeing a lot of tools in that section. Now from this section we have the property section, which holds every tool you add to your project, and it is very important for you to understand. Here also is the solution explorer, which contains all the forms you will be creating in this section or this area. Now this section contains the data source or the database which you can add to your project. It is very important for you to know. That is very good of you. If you have a Microsoft account or Microsoft Visual Studio account, you can click here and then you will sign in to your Microsoft account. If you need a live support, you can click here or here, then you get a live support from sending your feedback. Now we have these guys here. This is a navigate back and then navigate forward if you are working on navigations, and then you can click here to quickly create a new project. The same thing, you can go to file, new project. You can go to file, new file, new folder, a lot. Now you can quickly open a project while going to file, click on this folder. You can simply click on this guy and it will open for you. You can quickly click on this save guy and then save all. This save is saving only this form, but when you have a multiple forms, when you click on this, it will save all the projects, not a specific form. Bear in mind, these guys are aligned. When you add a label or a text, when I add a label, I can now align the label to the left or to the right. This is undo button and this is redo button. Now from this tab we have the debug. Under debug we have release, and then we have configuration manager. What it does is we have the debug and then we have the release. The debug has a folder, so when I go to my project, then I go to my Visual Studio and then let's save this project to a specific folder. So I will just click on save. Now I have saved my project. Let's go to the desktop and click on master class. Now you will see my text here. That is my folder for my project. Now when I go to the bin folder, you will see a debug and a release folder. When I click on debug, it will debug. When I select debug and then go to build build solution, it will add my files to my project or to my debug folder, so I can open it up straight here and I can get it from my debug folder. Now when I come to the release folder, it is empty. So when I come to this project and then I select my release folder, then I go to build and then click on build solution, it will build the solution for me. Then it will add files to my release folder. So now I have the project inside my release folder, and at the same time I have it inside my debug folder. That is how the release and then the debug works. So if you are having a little bit problems concerning your codes in your debug, just release it. Now we have the configuration manager. For the configuration manager, you can set your debug and your release as well. Now you can add a new name. Let's call this test name, and you can select whether you want to debug it or release it. So I will debug this. Click on OK. Now you can see that you have your test name here. The platform allows you to choose any platform. Now from here you can see that there is any CPU. The same thing applies to this. You can add a new CPU, which is 64-bit operating system or 32-bit operating system. In this case, I will choose 32-bit operating system, then I will select any CPU. Now I will click on OK and it will add it to my test project. Now when I select debug, you will see that automatically I can change it to any PC. So let's select the test name. Now the name is test. Then let's click on OK. Now let's go to build and then let's build the solution. Now when I go back and I go to my bin folder, you will see my test name here. When I open the test name, you will see that there is nothing here. So when I go to build, rebuild solution, and it will build all the projects successfully for me. So I can then see that I can create a project. Now you can see that there you are, because I added it to 86-bit operating system, and there you are. So inside my bin folder, I will go to 86 and then I'll go to text name, which I added here, and I'll get it here. I can run this and I'll get it very beautiful. That is how it is done. So this guy here is start. We use it to start our project or to test our project. That is how it works. When you want to pause it, you pause it here. When you want to continue, you can click on continue execution and it will continue. Or when you click on pause, you can click on continue to continue execution. If you want to stop this project, you can click here or click on this stop button and it will stop your project for you. I believe you have understand this particular lesson and you will surely learn a lot with this. On this form, you can do a lot with this form. You can change the name of the form from your property section, which is the test. You can change it to any name and automatically it will change the name. You can decide to set the maximize box to false, and when you start your project, you won't be able to maximize your project. You can decide to turn your minimize to false, and you won't be able to minimize your project. You can decide to set your maximize box to true and the minimize to false, and you won't be able to set your minimize to true. You won't be able to minimize your project. You can then set the border style. You can then set the border style, form border style to fixed single, and you can't scale it. You can't get advantage to scale it. But when you turn it to fixed 3D, you can now get access. You can't get access to scale it as well. But when you set it to sizable, you can then size your form, and that works absolutely fine. When you select form border to none, you can see that you don't have any border yet. So when you click on start, you won't get any border to close it. I hope this lesson helps you a lot. Now, you can change your icon, but you need to get an icon file or an icon file. As you can see from the file extension here, you need to get an icon file to get going. Alright, so we will base here and we will end for this lesson. But before we end for this lesson, you can decide to change the back color to any color you want. Click on this and then you can choose in within colors. That is very absolutely working fine. Now come down here, you can choose to start your position. Now when I choose Windows default location, then I click on start, it will start my project anywhere on the screen. But when I choose center screen and then I click on start, it will definitely start in the middle of my screen for me. When I set the Windows state to maximize, anytime I start my project, it will maximize the whole screen for me. When I set it to minimize, anytime I start my project, it will minimize until I maximize. So when anytime I set it to normal, then it will be normal. I believe this particular tutorial lesson helped you a lot. On our next lesson, we will be learning how to pop up message dialogues using Visual Studio. We will be basically explaining everything for you to understand. Until we meet again, have a nice day, and Ikesoft Original is out.